Hi, and welcome on board. Here we are, 7 p.m. on Monday evening. Welcome to Healing with Marcus. We're doing the Monday Night Live. There is a new name that's appearing called Medicine Man Marcus, which is, of course, wonderful, lovely. 3M. It's a beautiful name that may stick. Welcome on board here. We are here to go into it's a deep dive into our level of consciousness. It's a deep dive into ourselves and the journey into self-discovery. We want to relate today to you that if you're lucky enough to be on an inner journey of self-discovery, you are among the very few people who are doing that. There's LEK. Welcome on board, LEK. Lovely to see you here. Lovely to see you here. Thank you. So, as you have been called to embark on an inner journey, this is it's a calling that everybody has, of course, but not everybody listens to it. And the ones of us who have been called for a long time, at one point or another in our lives, we end up in a space of, uh-oh, I need to face this. I need to face what's happening inside of me. I need to face why I'm feeling certain things, or why my life is looking in a certain way. Or you might have had some form of catastrophe in your life, some form of tragedy, some form of question of why is this happening to me? And when we are in an open space, open inner space, you might be lucky enough to ask, what is the common denominator in all these things that are going on with me? Often, I used to see other people as the problem. I used to see situations, and in my case, because I came from a very dramatic background, my experience was often drama in relationships. And as I sat and had realized that there were a bunch of relationships in a row that all seemed to look the same. There were, of course, different people involved, but I was the common denominator. And when I was able to start to say, okay, what is it that's going on? Why am I being pulled into these situations over and over and over? Excuse me. Sorry about that. Why am I getting into these experiences that are always, in my case, they left me feeling very shattered? Why is it that keeps happening to me and it doesn't seem to happen to everybody? So as I started doing that, following that line of inquiry, I started seeing patterns in my life. I started seeing that there were things I had done and ways I thought and felt that caused the similar situations to show up over and over and over. And then at some point, there was a breaking point where it was like, okay, so it can't be their fault that I'm feeling this way over and over and over. I must have something to do with this experience that I'm living. If you get to that point, you're in luck. You're in luck. It may not be an easy place to be in, because usually it's a lot of pain. It doesn't have to be a lot of pain, but it often is. We start to look at, what is it that I do that perpetuates the same situation over and over? And then you might be able to look into the deeper part of yourself, and you can see that you are playing a role in every relationships in your life, that you have something to do with it. This isn't to beat ourselves up. This is not to create more pain or suffering for ourselves. This is just to see what is the way out. What is the universe telling us about ourselves that we can potentially use as information to discern, to start to see, look into ourselves. If we're lucky, we can take off the ego hat. Excuse me. If we're lucky, we can take off the ego hat and we can look at the situation a little bit more from the outside. And then you can see that, oh, so there are things I do in my life that create these situations. And as I follow that, I start to see that our similar energies, similar feelings involved in all these situations. And as we do that, then we can enter into our inner space. In my case, it was a journey of self-discovery that started a long time ago. And as it got deeper and deeper through meditation and through experiences, I was able to find that I had a broken heart. And if you can find that there is pain residing somewhere inside of you, you might be able to breathe into that and to see, what is this pain telling you? It's not always, like I say, it's not easy, because it requires a certain type of almost desperation to look into ourselves. But when we're lucky enough to do, we can start to find answers. So as I breathed spaciousness into my heart, and I started finding, oh, there's brokenness in there. Oh, it's hurt. And it was often connected to a relationship, and then I could breathe spaciousness into that, releasing that person out of my energy field, releasing the codes, the strings, the strains to this person. I started feeling into my own heart. And when we look into the heart, we find a bunch of things. We guide ourselves in there with our breath. And we get information. What is the hurt trying to tell us? And we also begin to feel a sense of healing coming in. When you create spaciousness in your body begins to mend itself. When the mind isn't there all the time to recreate the same pattern of thinking, because when we're stuck in a loop of thinking, it's their fault, therefore I'm in pain. It's their fault, she abandoned me, she did this, she did that. I end up sitting in the pain, right? But if I can sit with, okay, so now this is my pain to learn to heal. I start to detach. I start to learn how to heal my inner heart, which becomes the physical heart as well. In my case, I then, as the heart started to heal, I began to find a string of energy down into my sacral chakra. And in the sacral chakra, I felt abandonment. And when I found that sense of abandonment, I saw where it came from childhood experiences, came from the family of origin that I grew up in. And the feeling of abandonment from when I was a child. Then I started breathing into that. And at first, of course, I wanted to blame, in this case, it was my mother. I wanted to blame my mother for putting that wound in there. But I realized, hang on, I'm 40-something years old. And that happened 40-something years ago. And now my mom isn't even in this life anymore, right? So, but when I discovered it, she was still alive, but I also knew that this was still 40 years ago, and it had happened a long time ago. So I was able to breathe spaciousness into the sacral chakra area. And when you begin to breathe, deep breaths, in my case, I found that the pain was right there. The abandonment wound was right there. And I could take responsibility. Not for that my mom had done something wrong, right? Because that's on that person. But what we can discover is that it's now a part of my system. That it's now my job to heal whatever happened. That it's now my responsibility. If I want to live a whole, complete, full life, I have to take responsibility for what's going on inside of me. And in the same time as I found that broken heart stuff, I also found other things that were connected to the lungs, right? The heart is right by the lungs. Energetically speaking, when we have a sense of not really wanting to live, we are sending a message into the body that we don't really want to be here. This constricts the energy that goes to, in my case, into my lungs, created asthma, created a lot of phlegm in my lungs. So I couldn't use them the way they are supposed to be used. I didn't have enough power. And that same thing was then also connected to the abandonment. And as I could start sitting with healing the original abandonment wound, seeing that the people who raised me did the absolute best they could with what they had, where they came from. That often the trauma that previous generations have gone through are much deeper than the trauma. The trauma, when we look at the timeline of generations, we can see that the trauma is actually getting lighter, even though it feels heavier. But each generation that comes up, either my generation or the ones that are following, is getting more sensitive to the trauma. Which is, in a way, a beautiful thing, right? Because it really helps people to stop the trauma, to stop the chain of inflicting trauma on the next generation, on the next generation, on the next generation. But when we look at the parents we had and then the generation before them, most of them had harder lives. Most of them had harder trauma. They really didn't talk about emotions. They really didn't talk about feelings or situations. They really didn't feel like they had a right to express themselves. And now those voices are getting stronger. The voices that we have that are getting more empowered into feeling, excuse me, the voices that are getting stronger are saying, okay, no more trauma. Because we are getting more sensitive and we are understanding more and more that this is not okay. That we don't need to sit in that trauma any longer. So that's also when it came to me that healing the sacral chakra, self-love chakra, and then later the root chakra has become the main purpose of the inner journey. To heal our own inner wounds, to heal the wounds that are present within you, becomes your job in this lifetime. So we can experience the freedom that comes with more internal power and more internal stability. The stability is not within a framework. The stability is the wildness of nature herself. The wildness of Mother Earth herself. Living in the flow of life. This is the reward for healing our traumas. This is the reward for sitting in our inner healing journey. And this internal inner journey of self-discovery keeps getting deeper and deeper. We find more and more things that we can access and release out of our system. And as we do, we also gain access to more power, more energy. When we do that, it becomes easier to assist others in their healing as well. And on the deepest inner part, we realize that we are an expression of this life now. We are an expression of the flow of life force energy now. If you compare that to a light that's burning, or light that's inside of your body burning, the stronger this light can burn, the more energy that's coming through, the stronger you're going to shine. This is why it's important for us all, and my dear LEK, so beautiful to see you here. It's important for us all to keep going on our internal journey. Meditation is an invaluable part of that journey. Getting used to sitting in your inner stillness, getting used to sitting in your inner power, and recognizing and realizing when you're feeling robbed of your inner power, and why do you feel robbed of that power? Did you just give away your power to somebody else? Did you just give it away to a relationship, to a situation with your parents, to a situation with your children, to a situation at work? How can you bring that power back into your body? This is our self-discovery. As it becomes clear to me that I am sitting here as an expression of life in this moment and a support for my own journey and for your journey, it is very clear that as we, because we are a part of the whole, as we start to vibrate higher in a stronger vibration, and we are anchored deeply into Earth Mother, which also gives you a stronger sense of rootedness and anchoring, it becomes very clear that we are also assisting and guiding each other to raise each other's vibration. That the field that we live within is an energetic field. On the surface level, it looks like we're humans, and it looks like we are just these molecules and atoms that are stuck in a body. But in reality, we are all in this field of awareness and consciousness. We're all affecting this field. And we are feeding that field all the time with our consciousness. So as we're sitting in this higher frequency of vibration, higher vibration, we help and guide the whole field to raise its vibration as well, because we are part of the same. One way to look at it would be to look at a magnet. If you can strengthen this magnet, you understand that it becomes stronger. And if you move that magnet up a bit, like you have it down here first, and as you move it up, you might add some electricity to that magnet. It gets much stronger. It's both going to be magnetizing other magnets, and we can see that it affects the magnetic field. Well, this is how we sit in a field of awareness. Or like one of the stories that often come through is like you when you walk into a coffee shop, or if you come home from work, or if you greet your partner, and you come home into that coffee shop or home from work with a smile on your face because you felt good, because you are grounded. That coffee shop is going to look at you and smile. The people in the coffee shop are going to be like, oh, feels good to have that person here. And then we can see the opposite, that if we come into that coffee shop with a frown on our faces because we are thinking only about, my God, these people did this to me, or I can't believe the politics that are going on, or I can't believe this or that is going on right now. Holy God, this mind-made monster or prison that we're within keeps us imprisoned, But it also keeps us in a frequency that when we walk into that coffee shop with that big frown on our forehead and the energy of aggression, other people are either going to feel like, that person is angry. Well, I'm angry too. Or they're going to feel, oh, shoot, I don't want to talk to that person. They don't look pleasant. And this is our inner choice, right? Which choice do you make? Which energy frequency do you sit in? Which frequency do you live in? Do you live in a higher state in your body? Because as you raise your inner awareness, based on this self-discovery journey, as we raise our inner awareness and we start to feel less caught in life, less trapped by our own programming, when you raise that vibration, you also start, if you think of yourself as the magnet, you start to vibrate at higher frequencies, you gain access to new information. The field around our world, our earth, there's a base level, very low frequency, that if you look at somebody or you feel yourself, I can see in my life that the years that I walked around feeling trapped in life and feeling very angry in life, I attracted other angry people into my life. And the base level frequency that I was on was attracting other people functioning on the same basic level. And when I function on that level, I will keep experiencing the same kind of trauma, the same kind of suffering. And as I start to raise my inner vibration by a deeper understanding of what's happening in here, I feel less trapped. I start to raise that vibration. I vibrate a little higher and I gain access because of how the field of our consciousness on our earth is heaviest, vibration is lowest. Then it comes up a little bit, it gets a little lighter, gets a little lighter, gets a little lighter. And as it gets lighter and goes up higher, we also gain access to the realms, to the information that's in this higher realm of frequency. And then as you sit in your very deep meditations, in your very deep inner work, you'll gain access to a lot of new information. So sometimes maybe even listening to talks like of similar nature to this talk, or if you sit in your, listening around, right, on YouTube or different, wherever you find your information, or like you, LEK, that's sharing so much positivity in our world. You're sharing so much love, so much warmth. This raises your vibration as well. And then you end up gaining access to new information all the time. Because the information is there for us to download. As we raise our frequency, we download new information all the time. And that's how we also learn more about ourselves, our role in this world, and our interactions with other people. And at least in my experience, it's a beautiful journey. And it's sort of the only real journey that's worth taking. Not that we can't go around the world, not that we shouldn't travel to Hawaii or to, wherever, the Tibet or India or wherever we want to go. But the internal journey is that everlasting journey that will keep helping you to raise your vibration, your frequency. You gain access to new information, more love. And as we keep going deeper within, we also gain access to more of that love, pure energy, pure frequency. And the more we sit in the love frequency, which also requires us to look internally or inside of ourselves and heal the traumas, the more we can't bypass it, right? We cannot. I tried for many years. I didn't know I was bypassing, but I was. I didn't know I was spiritually bypassing things. And then my shaman teacher found me and showed me. And it was a beautiful experience because suddenly the healing journey became more physical, more real, more internal. Not just mind of understanding things, but also a physical experience. So as we begin to heal that the inner traumas, the inner child, actually I don't really like the term inner child, but that's maybe beside the point what I like. I see it more as traumatic incidences that happened to us when we were little, and that made us stuck in certain trauma states. So then when something shows up in our lives that mimics the original experience, our triggers are activated and we react, almost like we did when we were little. As we begin to heal that more and more, it becomes easier to access more love, more of your self. The false self that is built up of these experiences where we think we have to protect ourselves all the time can slowly wither away, slowly fall away as we discover more love inside of us, more strength, and more rootedness. So I would like for you to just feel into your system right now. Breathe into yourself. Follow me. Oh, thank you, L.E.K. Thank you so much. Grateful to hear that. So breathe into your system. Follow me into yourself. Expand your lungs. Relax your shoulders. Feel into your whole body system. Do you have any tightness sitting anywhere? Can you give me permission to release that from you? Release it, release it, release it with your breath. Let me help you remove it. Go into yourself. Even if it can be painful at times to see the inner child that's crying, the experience from when we were little and we felt abandoned and we desperately did not want to be abandoned. So we fought to keep that away, but it didn't work, right? Feel into that and release it. We can feel into it and it may not be as easy to release it as we want because it's stuck in our nervous system. But you create spaciousness around the experience. Create spaciousness around the trauma. Allow your body to heal itself. Just like the wounds on your skin heal, the body heals your wounds, so does the energetic body heal the emotional trauma that we've gone through. Yes, keep the breath going. There you are. Yes. Just feel it. Just feel it. Yes, we are there together. This works in the quantum field of existence. So we are working with you to release and remove these fears. Today we will do a shorter healing drumming journey. We'll do a little bit, but we'll do a shorter one. There's going to be some shifts happening around the healing as well. But keep going into yourself. Give me permission to help. To help you release out of your system. Unclench your butt, release your hips, release your lower stomach area. Let the medicine of the drum and the sounds that are coming through me help to align your inner system. Yes. Feel the activation in your chakra system. Feel the activation deep down inside of you. Yes. So welcome back into the room. I actually want to leave you like this for a little bit. I'd like to leave you in this peace. I'd like to leave you in this internal activation in your healing inner space. Yes. Thank you for being here. We're going to say goodnight. Namaste. And aho. Bye, everybody. Have a beautiful day. Thank you, LEK. Thank you.